All right, Greg, welcome to Miami. And you said it, the Marlins have started to play pretty good baseball in this town, winning 9 of their last 11. And now welcoming in the top team in baseball, the Cardinals, for the first game in a 3-game set. St. Louis with a 6-game lead in the Central. The Marlins hanging around in the National League East. Welcome inside. Joe Davis, Cliff Floyd, Ken Rosenthal down in the field. There were perhaps some questions coming into the season how Giancarlo Stanton would bounce back from getting hit in the face to finish last year. And after a bit of a slow month of May, he's turned it on here in June, and here he is leading the majors in homers and RBIs.
Yes, he is, Joe. And I think I'm very convinced when you talk about being a slugger in this game, the proof is in the stats. And you look at this guy, 16 of his 25 homers this year have been to center field or opposite field. And you have to make adjustments on the fly, knowing that they're going to pitch you differently every time you're up there. And it's just good to see a young guy in himself hit balls like that, Joe.
Cardinals have gone to 4 consecutive NLCSs. Mike Matheny trying to take them there once again this season, and despite all the issues that St. Louis has had with injuries this year, here they are still with a large lead as the best record in baseball.
Well, you talk about that, you know, those injuries, and you look at the win column and you go, well, how you do it? Supporting cast of guys when you have Tyler Lyons filling in rotation. You have a Mark Reynolds filling in. You have these guys that you just go to, and I think when you talk about Mike Matheny, he allows his guys to take on his personality and get these guys on the field consistently. That's been the key for these Cardinals these days.
It's one of 5 managers in big league history to reach the postseason in each of his first 3 years. Meanwhile, Dan Jennings taking over this Marlins squad. And after losing 5 games in a row to begin his tenure as a skipper, they've played 500 ball since mid-May. And are only a half game off of the pace of the best record in the National League East over the last month. Really, because the National League East has been so mediocre, the Marlins, despite being a disappointment so far, still hanging around, just 7.5 back.
Yeah, you look at this team, and they're a frustrating bunch, but I think when you look at overall, when you talk about just being 7 games back, you're about to get a little bit healthier, Joe, and you look at this team moving forward. Once they get Jose Fernandez back, you know, once they get some of these guys back out there on the field, it allows them to feel better about themselves as they move forward. You need these guys if you're going to contend this tough NL East.
You mentioned Jose Fernandez getting ready to come back. He's announced that next Thursday, July 2nd, will be his debut, and he's continued to rehab. Was dominant last night in Jupiter. 7 innings, gave up just 1 run. And now in his 2 rehab starts, 19 strikeouts. He dominated high A hitters last night. Back with the team today. It's just down the road in the Florida State League. There's so many teams this time of year. You look at the trade deadline and say, how can we make ourselves better? But the Marlins, just some guys are going to be getting off of the disabled list, are going to improve a ton.
Yeah, and you know what? When you look at also this bullpen that's probably been their black eye thus far this season, you're going to get some of these starters back, as you mentioned, and you allow some of these guys to go down there and help that bullpen sort of get back to where you believe you can go to and they can have some roles.
And really at this point, they've got, when you consider the guys that are on the disabled list and will return at some point here, they're going to have 8 starting pitchers to choose from to make the starting rotation. And you mentioned it, that can lead to the bullpen being improved. And the Marlins finally take the field. The Cardinals get ready to come to the plate. Here is Mike Matheny's lineup. Colton Wong will lead things off after getting Sunday off. Randall Grichuk is in the 2 spot, and that means Matt Carpenter gets a scheduled day off as well. So back-to-back off days for him, coming off of the team off day yesterday. Peralta is leading the team in just about every major offensive category, with Reynolds, Hayward, and Molina in the middle. John Jay making a return to his hometown, with Scruggs and Martinez throwing for St. Louis. He'll try to get it done against Jose Urena, 23 years old, out of the Dominican, making his 6th big league start. Cliff, he had a rough start in his first big league start back in May, but since then, 4 quality starts in as many tries in June.
Yeah, when you look at his stuff, big arm, big fastball. I think the one thing that you worry about with Urena is the fact that does he have an out pitch? And we've seen that his last 3 or 4 starts where he has the out pitch working for him, whether it be the changeup or the slider, and he's getting guys to bite at it.
And has a solid defense around him, penned in by Dan Jennings tonight. top defenses in baseball in certain metrics. Yelich, Ozuna, and Stanton in the outfield. Yelich a Gold Glover in his first full season last year. Derek Dietrich starting at third. Echeverria and Gordon really good up the middle for the Marlins this season. Echeverria establishing himself as one of the top fielding shortstops in the game. Justin Morse taking over at first with a Mike Morse injury. And JT Realmuto, they're excited about the future of, does the catching for Urania. Cardinals with the best record in baseball, 4 games better than anybody else. The best winning percentage on this date for the Cardinals since the 1940s. Colt Wong ready to lead it off against Urania. The roof closed, the air conditioning turned on, though it didn't feel like it during BP. You're still sweating a little bit.
I'm still sweating and trying to figure this thing out, Joe.
Urania's first pitch of the day misses low, and off we go. With Colt Wong trying to get back on track. Hitting only just above 200 in the month of June after a really good start to the season. It's 1-1. Second among second basemen in the National League. An all-star voting coming into the day. His counterpart tonight, Dee Gordon, leading the way in that category. 2-1. There's Gordon, tied for the NL lead in batting average. 2-1. Dribbled in front of the plate. Realmuto picks it. 1 gone. So Wong is retired 2-3. Cliff, take us through our keys tonight.
Well, you talk about riding the momentum of a Jose Urania, and the fact that you get 4 quality starts, you have to ride that. It's a quality start where you have to, when you look at where they are in the standings, he's going to be a big part of this rotation moving forward. And you look at the RBI chances with Giancarlo Stanton out there, guys got to get on base for him, Joe. Drive guys in and help them win some ball games. And you look at the Cards, just keep playing the way they play, man. You're in first place for a reason. These guys are doing a great job consistently every time they go out on the field.
Randall Grichuk putting together a monster road trip, hitting .389 with 3 homers during this trip. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Cardinals left fielder tonight hitting out of the 2 spot with Matt Carpenter getting the day off. Waits on this 1-1 from Urania. 2-1. Grichuk moving into an everyday role because of some of the injuries. It started in May when John Jay was shelved, and then he's stayed in that everyday role with a Matt Holliday injury. 2-1. 3 balls and a strike.
Now, I talked about this before the game. When you look at these guys and talking about the Cardinals and why they're in first place, it's because of these guys that they have that stay ready consistently every day.
Grichuk pops one up short right. It's Stanton, 2 up, 2 down. So Urania with a chance to work a 1-2-3 first inning. 23 years old out of the Dominican Republic. Now facing Johnny Peralta. Just quietly putting together another great season. Average, homers, RBIs, all leading the club. Here in his 2nd year in St. Louis. Strike 1.
Most underrated player in the game, Johnny Peralta.
Most underrated.
Bottom line, just does not get enough credit. I mean, he is so good. He's consistent. He stays even keel 162 days.
Behind Urania, 0-2. Now, since he joined the Cardinals at the beginning of last season, he's been worth more wins than any other shortstop in the game. So those numbers would agree with you, at least by his position. I mentioned it a moment ago, among the Cardinals, he's been the best hitter this year.
Especially when you lose the type of guys that they've lost. Matt Adams goes down. Matt Holliday goes down. And you have guys like him just step up. And Mike Medina can throw him in a 4-hole, a 5-hole, whatever. And he just does his job.
Mike Matheny was raving to us about him prior to the game today. What an example he sets for the young guys on this roster. He mentioned the word tempo, and not necessarily anything at the plate like you hear tempo sometimes. He meant on a day-to-day basis in the grind of a big league season, the way he goes about it. 2-2.
Well, you have to play the game smart. I think that's the way you look at this thing. It's 162 games. You enjoy your days off. You understand what's going on, but this guy plays the game the right way. He doesn't dog it. He comes to the park ready to play, and he shows these guys how to get it done.
Works the count full against Urania. Peralta, leading vote getter among shortstops in the National League. Has a 2 million vote lead over the Giants' Brandon Crawford. Waits on this 3-2, and Urania has a 1-2-3 first inning, striking out Peralta for his first K. And Dan Jennings will send his lineup to the plate for the first time against Carlos Martinez when we come back to Miami. D. Gordon sent the lead off the Marlins' first inning against Carlos Martinez, who misses away with a fastball. Gordon leading off for this Marlins squad with an offense 12th in the National League, averaging less than 4 runs per game. 1 ball and 1 strike. JT Realmuto bats behind him tonight. First time that he's hit above the 5 spot in the order. He hit second. Yelich and Stanton, that's been 3 and 4 over the last couple of weeks. Dietrich's in that 5 spot with Ozuna hitting 6th. Then Bohr, then Echeverria, and Urania.
Look at this lineup, and talking to Dan Jennings before the game, he wants to try to find that 2-hole hitter. Who's going to be that guy that steps up? And again, JT there gets a chance tonight, and you've seen Dietrich there a little bit, so he's trying to find that guy till Martin Prado gets back on the field.
Gordon's worked ahead 3-1, and Martinez issues the first walk to D. Gordon. No, that's ball 3. There are 3 balls and a strike. Martinez, control's been a bit of an issue for a guy that's been really good over the last few weeks. Bounce back to the mound. Martinez will take it to the bag to get Gordon first out of the ballgame.
But I think the key to him, when you look at what he's been able to do consistently, Joe, is slow down a little bit, find himself. He wanted this opportunity to start. He's gotten it and taking full advantage of it.
His first year as a full-time member of the rotation with the Shelby Miller trade to the Braves, and then Jaime Garcia dealing with the shoulder problems at the end of spring training. Gave him a chance to break the season in the rotation. So you see the defense around him, which is top 5 in the National League. JT Realmuto looks at ball 1. One ball and 1 strike. Martinez has pitched into the 7th in 6 consecutive starts. He had done that just 1 time over his first 15 career starts. So something has clicked for him over the last month or so. 1-2.
When you have a Gold Glove catcher as Yadier Molina behind the dish, you have to trust what he's putting down and go out there and execute it the best you can. And I think when you look at those numbers right there, you can probably attribute them to Molina saying, hey, you have to pitch ahead and not behind.
Realmuto does a nice job to fend it off. There's pitching coach Derek Lilliquist. He's been part of the Cardinals organization in various roles for a decade and a half now. Started as a minor league coach, came to the big leagues as a bullpen coach a few years ago, and then moved into this current role partway through that 2012 season. First under Mike Matheny. Martinez with a 1-2. Dill's inside and it evens up.
You talk about Derek Lilliquist and what he's able to do with this young veteran staff is he's been around Lance Lynn. He's been around some Michael Walker and some of these guys in the minor league system. So he knows these guys before they get to the big leagues.
And a breaking ball gets Realmuto for the 2nd out of the inning. Martinez with his first punch out.
See that big breaking ball rip out his hand, Joe, and that's just a tight break. You see that? That's an unhittable pitch. JT is just trying to make contact to foul it off.
And it's that secondary stuff coming along to complement the lively fastball that's made a big part of the difference for Martinez. Goes with a heater for strike 1 to Christian Yelich. He's hitting .230. 4 home runs and 15 knocked in. Goes upstairs for that one and bounces it by a drawn-in Reynolds for the first base hit of the game. Christian Yelich with a 2-out single to keep the frame alive for Stanton.
This is a nice piece of hitting, going with the pitch, not trying to do too much. Getting a nice little lock. You see that ball away from him. Pulls his hands in nicely, but stays on it. Doesn't try to pull off. Gets that ball past Mark Reynolds over at third base for a knock.
Reynolds making only his 4th start at third base this season, with Carpenter getting the day off. So here's Giancarlo Stanton, major league leader in homers and RBIs. Interesting matchup to watch. A power pitcher against a power hitter. 25 bombs and 64 knocked in this year. Stanton moved into the starting outfield group in All-Star voting earlier today. He'd become only the 3rd position player to be voted into the All-Star game in a Marlins uniform as a starter. Gary Sheffield, Hanley Ramirez, the others. Slider for a strike, and Martinez ahead 1-2.
That's a great pitch, but you look at the difference with Carlos is the first 3 hitters, they get fastballs 93 to 94. Giancarlo steps in the box 97. You know the matchup.
Molina sets outside, goes there with his slider, and Stanton lays off to even the count.
If Carlos Martinez is getting that pitch right there over the plate, or being able to out his hand look like a strike, that's where he's going to be way effective.
Molina setting away again. Slider was hung and hammered. Number 26 of the season. 2-0 Miami. Wow.
That's amazing. I mean, you look at that, Joe, and you say to yourself, a dialed-in guy, 26 home of the season, but when you sit on the pitch, you see the slider grip out his hand, he knows it's coming, you leave it there. I say earlier he's getting that pitch over for a strike, but you leave it there, you're going to pay.
Yeah, it's got to be the right kind of strike. Stan hits his 26th home run to lead baseball. Brings up Derek Dietrich. He's got some power himself. He fouls it into the second deck.
That's why you love these matchups, because you're trying to get into the pitcher's head, you're trying to get into this hitter's head. And Stan, you have to pick a pitch and eliminate the other ones. He picked the right one and smashed it.
Dietrich hits one softly to the right side. Xavier Scruggs feeding Martinez, who steps on the bag to finish the inning. Giancarlo Stanton with a 2-run bomb and a 2-0 Marlins lead. As we look at our T-Mobile game changer, well, he's in some pretty good company in several different areas, but only 4 players in baseball history have reached 180 career home runs faster. Former Cardinal Albert Pujols did it in a Cardinals uniform. Now with the Angels, Mark Reynolds comes up and takes ball 1.
It's a great list, great company. You got to be consistent to be on that list. Consistently hitting balls far and small.
Not too fun so far, huh?
No. It gets better.
2-0 to Reynolds. Fouls off a fastball, and it's 2-1. Reynolds has moved into an everyday role for the Cardinals. Today it's at third. It's mostly been at first, with Matt Adams lost for the season with a torn quad. He was signed in the offseason, 1 year, $2 million, really to provide insurance at the corner infield spots. And it's paid off. 2-2.
It's paid off, and I think when you look at him, proven veteran, that you know what you're going to get when he steps on the field. And another guy, when you talk about Johnny Peralta being a clubhouse guy, Mark Reynolds is that guy as well.
Got a piece of a breaking ball. Moves to see another pitch, which is not something that over the course of his career you say a ton. 4 consecutive seasons he led baseball in strikeouts, included a record total during the 09 season. And chases a fastball for another K. Time for a game break. Here's Greg Wolf. All right, Greg. And Jason Hayward coming to the plate for the Cardinals. Boys, he started to heat up. Looks at a fastball in. It's 1-0. 11 for 20 on this current road trip for St. Louis. He's been their best hitter during the month of June.
And he's definitely stepped up since Matt Holliday's going on the deal with that quad injury. And the fact that he looks better. He understands what's going on, with this team, and they needed him to step up. And he's taking on a challenge. I mean, this is what I expected out of Jason Hayward in his Braves days. But I think now he's solidified himself, as a guy who's going to be around a long time. He's too athletic to not be a guy that goes out there and can have streaks like this consistently.
Takes a strike, and it's 3-1. Mike Matheny has described him as looking free. He looks much freer over the last few weeks. Past the point where he's trying to impress his new team, his new town. And he said not just the fact that he settled into a new team, but that swing's starting to feel better as well. Ken Rosenthal, you've got more.
Yeah, I talked to Jason before the game, Joe, and he said it's a question of timing as much as anything. Cliff, I want you to explain this for our audience. He said the key for him right now is getting into a better position to hit before the pitch is thrown. That allows him to be more free, allows him to track pitches better, gives him a greater margin for error.
Yeah, you're right, Ken. I mean, that's the key to him. I think, we saw too much of him moving around at the plate. And I think now he's in a position where he feels very good, and he's letting it fly.
Pulls a bounce to the 4. It's 5 up and 5 down for Jose Urena. Hayward bounces out. And it's time to vote for your All-Stars with the 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot for the 2015 All-Star Game. You can vote at MLB.com/vote and catch all of the excitement of the 86th All-Star Game, July 14th, live on Fox. Yadier Molina has been an All-Star in 6 consecutive seasons. Right now, second among NL catchers behind Buster Posey. Strike 1. Comes in riding a 7-game hitting streak. Mike Matheny told us before the game today, really happy with the way his at-bats are starting to look.
You know what? I saw him early in the season. I know he worked out really hard this offseason, and he lost a lot of weight. I think he's putting a little weight back on, and he's feeling better about himself. I know it's a grueling season behind that dish, but he's a guy that when you look at him now, this is an old Yachty we've seen in the past.
Dropped 25 pounds during the offseason. After dealt with injuries last year. Off speed, hooked off the end of the bat to left for a base hit. And the first Cardinals base runner of the game comes courtesy of Yadier Molina's 2-out single. So the hitting streak extended to 8, and he kept alive for John Jay.
See another slider down the zone. He stays on that thing. That's a nice piece. That ball almost hit the ground, Joe, and he stayed on the ball. That's when you're going good. When you're going bad, that ball's a ground ball that hits Faria, shortstop, inning over.
Check out the Fox tracks where that pitch was. That ball's hammered to right center by John Jay. Making a Miami homecoming tonight. You can tell by the reaction of the crowd. He's got a good number of people here to watch him. Went to Christopher Columbus High School, and then there was a hurricane as well.
It's always good to come back home, especially when you get a knock your first at bat. Pressure's off of you a little bit because your boys rag you all day long. You better get a hit, boy. Like, okay.
So back-to-back 2-out singles, and here's Xavier Scruggs. Two benefits from Matt Carpenter getting the day off. Mark Reynolds moves from first to third, and Scruggs moves in to start at first. Only his 5th game. Spent most of the season in AAA Memphis. Was up for 1 game in May and then caught up again just a few days ago. Rainey retired the first 5 that he faced. Singles from Molina and Jay. Scruggs pulls a bouncer to third that Dietrich stays down on, and that's the inning. So a couple of 2-out base runners for the Cardinals, but they don't score. Middle 2-0. Bump tonight. See Jose Urena with a couple of scoreless frames, and Carlos Martinez back out there after giving up the 2-run shot to Stanton in the first inning. Ozuna, Bohr, Echeverria, 6, 7, and 8 from Miami. Starts Ozuna with a fastball at the top of the zone, 97 on the gun, strike 1. Back-to-back fastballs, 0-2. Top 5 in the National League is Carlos Martinez in average fastball velocity. That's his first one that's out of the zone in this AB, 1-2.
See how quick he works. Talking about Carlos, just getting the ball, getting the sign, and keeping it moving. Not thinking a lot of them out, allowing them to come out and throw these 95, 96. If you have that, use it.
Fielders love it.
Fielders love it. Keep you on your toes, keep you in the ball game. But that pitch right there is the one that's going to get him in trouble. If he keeps hanging that ball tonight, he'll be in trouble with that slider that's not sliding right to the middle of the plate.
Fastball that Ozuna pokes the other way towards the corner and off the top of the wall. Ozuna begins the second with an opposite field double.
Stayed on that ball nicely. Fastball 99 miles an hour, Joe, and he crushed it right field. Almost looked like he didn't know where the ball was. See that ball gets deep. He stays inside of it nicely. And this is the guy we saw last year. And you see Jason Hayward thinks this ball is out, but there's nothing he can do with that but play it off the wall. It's a good play, but Ozuna's a guy last year that hit 20-plus homers with his Marlins team. They're trying to get him going, and he started getting going a little bit in May, and he's trying to continue that.
He's only got 4 long balls this year as Justin Bohr takes ball 1. It's kind of amazing when you consider that this team has the guy that's leading the majors in homers and RBIs, Stan. You've got the guy that's leading the majors in hits, and D. Gordon. Yet you're 12th in the National League in runs. The thing is, every other qualified hitter on the roster is below league average.
Yeah, that is not going to get it done. And I think overall, this team, 1 through 6, you'll put them up against anybody coming out of spring training. It just has not transitioned over. As you see John Carlos in that laughing, it's always good to get that home in the first at bat. But this team just has not looked good consistently as a group together. Now I know Mike Morris has been, missing in action with that nerve damage in his finger. But when you have a Christian Yelich, he's dealt with some back issues. D. Gordon has been on fire, but Marcell Ozuna has not been the guy that they counted on. So much last year to this year, they haven't been on count as much because he hasn't been that good. But overall, I think the Marlins still have a chance to do something in this NL East.
Got to be careful here. 3-0 on Justin Bour. Right now they sit 7.5 back. Nationals in first at 37 and 33. Worst record among a big league division leader.
Always admire guys. When you look at Dan Jennings over there, took over this team early in the season. I admire guys like Justin Bour. No batting gloves, just goes up there, grabs the bat, and just swings that bat and just hits bombs.
Goes down and gets a low fastball. Count goes full. It's 3-2 to Justin Bour. Missed his spot, but caught the corner. Molina wanted it outside. He ran it over the inside corner for the first down of the inning.
That's a tough pitch for a hitter. You look back and you see Yadi's glove reach back over. You think that ball is inside, but you look at it. It is a good pitch. He missed his spot by a mile. And Justin Bour can't do nothing but walk back. There's no sense of arguing. It's pretty close though, Joe.
Yeah. Echeverria now bounces one up the middle, base hit into center. And he snaps an 0 for 14 with an RBI single. Ozuna's in, and it's 3-0.
Nice piece by Echeverria in that situation. Come up, guys throwing hard. You know the pitcher's hitting behind you. Swing the first pitch. You get a fastball, take advantage of it. Guy in scoring position. See that fastball grip? Carlos's hands. I'm not waiting around for that nasty stuff. It's a base open. You're thinking maybe he'll pitch him, maybe he won't.
It might be 97 or 98, but you'd rather deal with that than a changeup or a slider.
I'm going up there first pitch hack.
Jose Urena, the pitcher, who is hitless in his career in 8 at-bats. Throw to first from Martinez to see if Urena would show his hand. I didn't show bunt. Strike one. I heard some shouting from the dugout. Did he not show bunt because he didn't get the sign?
I'm thinking he didn't get the sign, but it's also hard to bunt 96 to 97. And these guys, well, he missed the sign then because he finally got it down.
Scruggs picked it up and went for the tag, and now they'll make the call that it was a successful tag. Mark Carlson, the first base umpire, helped out home plate umpire Adam Hamari, who had called him safe. But a successful sacrifice moves Echeverria to second.
Take a look at this. That ball's right down the line. He didn't tag him. He's safe. Home plate umpire got it right.
Oh, you're right.
That's the easy one.
Yeah, Urena hangs out down at first. Dan Jennings consults with his people to see if they do want the challenge, and it looks like they will. And by those looks we saw, you would assume that this would be overturned.
I really enjoyed this part of the game, getting the calls right. I do miss the managers being able to go out and argue. It sort of takes away. I've always enjoyed that. But as we see on the Jumbotron here in the stadium, which our viewers are getting the same look, they'll start cheering here in a few seconds. We'll be missing.
And now the arguments have come about challenges, right? They've come after calls have been overturned. We saw Lloyd McClendon a few weeks ago lose it in Seattle.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, and you're seeing these different views, and we get the views from different angles. And I wonder how we're missing them still, but I guess there's been a few where you go, wow, maybe they did see it, but it's inconclusive. Then I guess, you know, that's a problem we still having with the instant replay. But it's still, you know, it's still trying to get worked out. And I think they're doing a good job here, still maintaining and making sure that we get these calls right and allow the game to move fluid.
A couple of managers have been outspoken about the process, and the word you mentioned, conclusive. I think it was Brad Ausmus that said last year they felt good about, you know, having a good handle on what was conclusive and what was not. But there's a lot of gray area in that spot this year. Many managers have been upset about it.
Yeah, you know what? And this is what, for me, I wonder what takes so long to see that he didn't tag him. I mean, I know you want to get the call right, and I know you want to keep the game moving. You don't want the pitcher out there, you know, standing around, or the fielders. But this, in my opinion, should be done in 10 seconds. You see the replay, different angles. You know, he didn't hit him on the way past. This game should be moving.
Wouldn't it go a long way as far as accountability if there was something as simple as, you know, microphone, whether it was from New York into the ballpark, where there was a simple explanation from, you know, the guy behind the screen, or if the crew chief gave you the explanation, a simple one.
A simple one. And you know, I think we will get to that point where it's a little bit more simple for these guys on the field. But I think, you know, when you look at our umpires and where they are today, it allows them to sleep easier at night as well, making sure they just get the calls right, and everybody's happy when they go home.
Here's your verdict. He is safe. Bottom line, replay did its job.
It did its job, and everybody's happy.
Well, not everybody.
Right. Cardinals not happy, but Yachty knew it.
Yeah. And you saw in the background immediately the Marlins people, Mike Goff, bench coach, hurried back with Dan Jennings to see if it was something they wanted to challenge. They did successfully. So now first and second with one out, the top of the order. D. Gordon coming up.
It's a process behind that, Joe. You don't just, you know, you got to stand there when you talk about instant replay. You got to have guys moving quick, fast.
Yeah. So that's ruled a base hit for Urania, and his first is a big leaguer. Martinez to Gordon fouls it off.
Now, with all that going on, who remembered to get the baseball?
Did anybody?
I don't know. We got to take a look. He has to get that ball. Maybe somebody remember now.
Our stats got Barry Allen just pointed to the seats on the foul ball that D. Gordon just hit. There it goes.
There it goes.
Yeah.
Now it's going to cost you a bat, ball, sign.
Eight and nine hitters both reach against Carlos Martinez. Now having to deal the leader in hits in Major League Baseball, D. Gordon.
We've been talking to D about his basketball days, and you know, I've been challenging him. He tells me, Joe, that he dunked on a 7-footer, and Ken can back me up on this 100%. And I don't know as he goes down on strikes, but I mean, you look at him, you're going, no way did he dunk on a 7-footer. But you know what, Ken? You got to help me out, Ted, and you have some information on this.
Yeah, this has become the thing here. Instead of pies to the face, it's been dunking on guys after games.
Air Gordon. I mean, he loves it.
Now, during batting practice, D called me over and he said, listen, I know Cliff doesn't believe me, but come talk to my high school coaches from Avon Park High School in Florida. And there were 5 of them, and they all testified that D. Gordon had dunked on the 7th.
Yeah, Ken, he left them tickets as well.
Yeah, he obviously didn't play baseball until his junior year of high school. He was a basketball player. Whether or not he dunked on a 7-footer, maybe we will never know. Cardinals always travel well. Got a new contingency here tonight. Coming up when we finish, coverage of the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup continues with the final game of the round of 16. Defending champion Japan takes on the Netherlands on Friday. Quarterfinals begin with your local Fox station. Germany and France, and then the U.S. against China with a trip to the semifinals on the line. All on Fox Sports 1, Fox, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Another couple Cardinals fans as Carlos Martinez takes ball one and another. Four hits and 25 at-bats for Martinez this season. Wong and Grichuk to follow at the top of the order. And pretty good swing. Shoots one down the line that'll peel away from Stanton. Strike two.
Talk about these Cardinals fans. They travel in bunches. They loyal. Great fans. Love going to, Busch Stadium back in the days when I was playing. Just the fact that they love their guys so much. And, they understand the game. The way they travel in bunches, they travel to see their team.
Carlos Martinez leading off this inning with a base hit into center. On a two-strike pitch. Turn it over for the top of this Cardinals lineup. Starting pitching has been the story for the Cardinals this year, but the offense has not been very good. Right at league average, scoring just over 4 runs per game. Puts them 10th in the National League. They've needed every bit of the starting pitching they've got as a result. 3 or fewer runs scored by the Cardinals in more than half of their games this year.
Yeah, they need Matt Holliday back in the worst way, but I think when you look at that offense, they just do what they have to do. And you know what? If they score a few runs, the pitching has been great. And it boils down to, allowing these guys, when you talk about the mound, to go out there and do their things, give you a quality start. Jaime Garcia has been great, not getting any run support. But, the team, they're in first place for a reason. Because collectively as a group, they're not individualized. They do it together.
3 balls and no strikes on Wong. Ken Rosenthal, you've got more.
Joe, the problem for the Cardinals, if they go out and look for a bat, is that they don't have an obvious position to put that player should they acquire him. The one area they could upgrade is first base. Now, Mark Reynolds has done well, but they could use a left-handed presence, maybe someone like Adam Lynn, maybe someone like Adam LaRoche. That said, there isn't an obvious way or a real impactful way that they can change their offense other than to get better performance out of the players they have.
There's reason to believe, guys, that some of the guys in this lineup will start to hit better than the numbers you're putting up right now. You've got guys coming back from injury, as you mentioned, like Holiday. There's Grichuk, but John Jay, for example, that's been a .290 career hitter. His average is down at .230 this year. Hayward has continued to heat up. Molina has started to heat up as well. You combine what has been incredible, historically incredible starting pitching with an offense that you figure will improve. This is a team that no doubt is going to be around all season.
But when you're doing the little things, getting guys over, getting guys in, doing the little things with runners in scoring position, this is key. This is when they manufacture. They're a manufacturing type team, not a team that actually does a lot. Great play by Hesperia right there.
To get the force at second, Grichuk aboard on the fielder's choice. Up to third goes Martinez.
This is every night. You watch him living down in South Florida, getting a chance to watch Hesperia every night. He does this routinely. Low throw, D. Gordon picks him up. And that guy right there, when you look at what he's done for this team, it allows his pitchers to go out there and make pitches, allow them to put the ball in play because they have guys like him who can catch it, get rid of it, make accurate throws, and keep those errors to a minimum.
Johnny Peralta struck out his first time. Bats with runners at the corners and one gone in the third. Attacks the first one, fouls it back at 93, strike one. Urania wants a ground ball to get out of the frame. Instead misses inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, this is where he struggles when you talk about Urania. 17 ERA with runners in scoring position. Batters hitting a 375 clip. He has to make the pitches. He has the pitches to get out of these situations.
Went with a change to a right-handed hitter and missed. Martinez at third, Grichuk at first, and draws the throw. Two, Johnny Peralta.
Joe, you talk about the Cardinals offense. I don't really mind it because when you look at where they are, I mean, every night they're in the ball game. So you see these guys and you say, well, yeah, they're struggling. But if you told the average fan who didn't look at stats,
this could be two. Second one. There's the double play that Urania needed to get out of the jam. 6-4-3. The Cardinals held off with the board. Urania induces the double play bounce out. We go to the bottom of the third with the Marlins in front 3-0. in the first, 1 in the second for Miami in a 3-0 lead. This July, baseball's best players gather in Cincinnati for the Midsummer Classic with home field advantage for the World Series on the line. Our coverage of the 2015 All-Star Game begins July 14th at 7 Eastern here on Fox and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. 3, 4, and 5 for the Marlins in this third inning against Carlos Martinez. Christian Yelich singled and scored his first time. 1-1.
I cannot wait for all the festivities of that All-Star game, Joe. I mean, that little ballpark in Cincinnati. Oh, it's going to be some home runs hit.
Giancarlo Stanton said that he would be up for the home run derby.
If he's asked. Come on. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
All right. He's modest.
Yelich with a solid base hit into center. He's 2 for 2, but he's on in front of Giancarlo Stanton once again. Went deep his first time up with a long shot to left center. Before that at bat, though, take us through what you're seeing.
Well, you see D. Gordon, who actually faced Carlos, and he goes, "Hey, you know that slider he throws? I don't know what it is, but if he hangs it, you do this to it." And that's that conversation that they're having, because that's the fun part about the game. D. Gordon leads off. You get a chance to see what's going on. You relay it to your stud, and he goes up there and gives you a 2-run homer. Sweet.
26th of the year for him. He's got 5 of the 10 longest home runs in all of baseball this year. That was another long one. Starts him with a slider.
Listen, pitchers believe that they just made a mistake when that ball went there. They're going to go back to it because they think you're not going to challenge it.
See what he goes to on 0-1. Molina sets outer half. Comes inside with a fastball. It was bounced off his foot. It's 0-2.
That leaves a mark. That hurts so bad. Most guys go to the ground. I'm that guy. I fall to the ground. I'm rolling around. Big guys like him. I'm a big guy, but studs like him, just wear it.
Fastball. It's 1-2. When pitchers have been able to get up and in, they've had success against him. Pitches up and in. He's sitting below 130. Fastball painted. Strike 3. Stanton won the first battle. Martinez gets this one.
Carlos Martinez pitched at a bat. See that fastball runs back over the plate for a strike. That's when he effective. He threw a slider for it just to show pitch the first one, and then he came back with 3-4 fastballs. That one right there hit the corner.
4 strikeout for Martinez. Now Derek Dietrich grounded out to first, his first time up. Was called up on June 12th to add some depth to the infield, a little more pop into the lineup. And he's moved into a starting role with Martin Prado going on the disabled list with a shoulder injury. He's got good power and takes ball 1. 6 of his 8 hits so far have been for extra bases, 3 bombs, 3 doubles.
He's always been able to hit, just trying to find a place for him to play consistently. And when you look at the infield that the Marlins have, there just wasn't no room for him.
Nice pitch. 1-1. Reaches out, pokes one softly to short. Peralta steps on the bag and fires to first for a double play. Twin killing helps Carlos Martinez face the minimum in the third, down 3-0. third of the Cardinals order with a 3-0 lead. Reynolds, Hayward, and Molina. Struck out Reynolds first time he faced him. One of 2 punch outs so far for the 23-year-old out of the Dominican. Signed as a free agent 2008. Spent 6 seasons in the minors before debuting in the bullpen in April. 1-1.
And you watch these patterns from both these guys. Carlos is establishing his slider early in the count. Urania is establishing his to lead off an inning to Mark Reynolds. You have to establish these secondary pitches to be effective against some of these hitters.
A couple of relief appearances for him in April, and was back to AAA. Called back to the majors May 26. Reynolds hits one off the end of the bat to right, and Stanton is there for the first out. Between innings, we had a chance to visit with his manager Dan Jennings, who shared his thoughts on Urania's start. All right, DJ, Jose Urania so far, what have been your impressions of him?
Done a nice job. You know what? He's kind of effectively wild early, but he's making pitches when he had to. Tremendous double play right there with H and D to get out of that last inning.
Of course, a lot of the pub's going to go to Giancarlo Stanton for the home run, but the guy that was on base in front of him, Christian Yelich, now 2 for 2. Seems like he's really starting to settle in.
He is. His approach over the last 3 weeks have been outstanding. His balance and rhythm at the plate. He's shooting the ball to both sides, and that's the complete hitter that he can be. And now, what do you say about Giancarlo? Just every night you watch something pretty impressive by this guy, and I'm sure glad we're wearing the same hat.
Dan, appreciate the time.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Jason Hayward launches a home run to right. The Cardinals are on the board on Hayward's 8th home run of the season. We're talking about Giancarlo Stanton, his power. Hayward shows some of his own.
I mean, that ball is absolutely crushing. We talked about him. This is the Jason Hayward we saw when he first came into the league. He had 27 homers as a rookie, but now he is getting back to being free and easy, and that ball was smoked.
Now 12 for 22 on this current road trip. It is average at its highest mark since the first week of the season. Molina with a big bounce that'll challenge Dietrich at third, and Molina's aboard. Let's go back to that home run.
Look how big Jason is. See the little change up out of Urania's hand. He stays on it nice and easy and free. Backside, clears the front side and hits his ball in the upper tank, Joe.
Mike Matheny told us before the game he reminds him of another left-handed power hitter.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, I see myself in him a lot, making adjustments, trying to be, you know, the guy that, you know, when you know pitchers are going to challenge you a lot. You know, you're big and strong. You have to make adjustments. You got long arms and all those things. So it's good to see him being free.
That's a word Matheny has continued to use to describe the way he started to swing it here in his first season in St. Louis.
And it's not easy being free. That's the thing, because you know when you try, you have new teammates. You're trying to find yourself. Contract years coming up. A lot of things. You know, you're trying to figure out how you get traded. You're a young up-and-coming star. And Jason Hayward now has figured out, I thought the perfect move for him was go to a team like the Cardinals.
Let's check in with Ken Rosenthal, who's got more.
Well, Cliff, Joe, it's going to be really interesting to see how Jason Hayward fares as a free agent. And a lot depends on whether he rebounds offensively this season, as he has started to. Defensively, we know he is one of the top defensive right fielders in the game. You look at wins above replacement, which accounts for defense, he is up there. But to get that massive contract, whether we're talking $150 million, $200 million, and a guy his age can get that, he's going to need to hit.
John Jay lifts a fly ball on the line to left that Yelich can't get to, and it stays at 2-2.
I mean, to Ken's point, he definitely has to hit, but you know, I think when you look at where he's at today, you know, he's comfortable in the box. Always said he made too many drastic moves with his stance, and now he looks like, you know, he's hitterish. Hitterish meaning that when he steps in the box, he like he's going to do some damage, as he should.
He was an all-star as a rookie. 2010, just 20 years old when he made his debut. But hasn't had the same kind of offensive numbers since. John Jay rips one foul. Came over with Jordan Wall, the Shelby Miller deal in November after 5 seasons in Atlanta. Need arose in right field for the Cardinals, of course, with the death of Oscar Taveras. And changed the plans for the front office for the Cardinals, changed the needs, the priorities during the offseason. Full count on John Jay. That one misses for ball 4. Second Urania walk. And 2 on with 1 out.
This has been Urania's problem. Getting in positions where he's pitching, you know, behind, putting guys on base via walk. And we always know, Joe, when you're walking guys, it never turns out good.
Xavier Scruggs due up with a tying run now on base for St. Louis. Team that scored 3 or fewer runs in more than half of its games this season. 10th in the National League right now in runs per game. Well, last year they won a division title with a poor offense. It was the lowest scoring offense for a division champion since realignment in '94. The numbers are actually a little bit better than they were a season ago offensively. Scruggs 0 for 1 with a ground out to third. And pulls the line drive towards the left field corner. That's a base hit. Yelich plays the carry. Molina scores. Jay's right behind him. And a 2-run double from Scruggs ties the game at 3.
That's just a nice piece of hitting by Scruggs. Knowing that the pitching coach goes out there and gives him the talk of you have to throw more strikes and jumps on the first pitch. See the fastball grip right here, Scruggs on. Nuh-uh. Not gonna let you get away with this one.
First extra base hit for Scruggs this season. Drives in his second and third RBIs. And only his 5th game of the year. So tied at 3 in the 4th. Carlos Martinez, who singled his first time, ahead in the count 1-0. Off of the fist. Stanton comes on, calls off Gordon, who bails out at the last moment. Every Marlins fan in the building watching across the country held their breath there.
Stanton said, man, you want a piece of this? D. Gordon said no. You see Stanton waving them off, and don't know what D thinking, but D goes, you know what, let me get out of the way of this freight train.
No matter how fast or slow he's moving.
It's going to hurt.
That's the fight you want to pick.
Oh, you're just going to hurt if you run into him.
Yeah. Colton Wong with 2 gone. Urania misses badly. Marlins bullpen already getting cranked up. Sam Dyson. The 1-0. Ball 2. Long grounded out to start the game and then walked in the 3rd. One of 2 free passes issued by Urania so far. Here's a 2-0. Hard hit, but right at Gordon. Side is retired. Now before the Cardinals tie the game with a Hayward homer and a Scruggs double. 3-3 middle 4. Xavier Scruggs with a 2-run double, locked at 3 as we move to the bottom of the 4th. Carlos Martinez goes back to work. Let's bring in Ken Rosenthal.
Well, Joe, we talked about Carlos Martinez, and you mentioned before the death of Oscar Taveras. It has had a profound effect on Martinez. I'll pick it up after this.
As Ozuna reaches to begin the inning, and a tough play for Peralta, Ken.
Now, what happened, obviously, last October, Martinez was his countryman, fellow Dominican, and also his teammate. And what happened in the Cardinals' eyes is that it was a wake-up call for Carlos Martinez. He became more diligent in his approach, more composed. They saw a different guy, a different person, pitching differently. I asked Yadier Molina as well. He said, don't forget also, Carlos is now a father of 2. Yadier says he is more serious now, Martinez is. Not that he wasn't serious before, but this death, this tragedy, made a difference in the life of Carlos Martinez.
This is outside to Justin Bour, ball 1. Wearing number 18 in honor of him. He threw 7 shutout innings on the anniversary of his big league debut at Tavares' family sitting in the first row at Busch Stadium. Bour hits one sky high to center. John Jay, plenty of time to settle under it. Ozuna holds it first on the first out of the inning. Patches on the sleeves honoring him. Tragically in that car accident back in his home Dominican Republic in the offseason.
What a talent he was. To watch him go out there and play the game, to get an opportunity to live out his dream, ended way too soon.
Danny Echeverria stands in now. RBI single his first time. Brought in Marcell Ozuna back in the 2nd. Base hit, snapped an 0 for 14 slide for him. Dan Jennings has continued to say that regardless of the numbers, he's liked his at-bats, even if he's going through a bit of a slide. His approach this year has really been a consistent one.
Yeah, exactly. Consistent, and the fact that when you always hit an 8th, I've always said the toughest job for any guy in the National League is hitting 8th for the pitcher, because you just don't know. When you're going well, they're not going to pitch to you, and when you're in between, it's just very tough to stay consistent. And he's been able to do it both, and I think that's the key to him. You've seen him progress, not only from a defensive side, but from an offensive side, being 8th, where he's hit his whole career.
Hard hit down the line to right. Hayward a long run. Will track it down. Back to first goes Ozuna. And 2 gone in the 4th.
When you talk about Hayward and his read off the ball, it's a route to the baseball. Look at this jump he gets on this ball, Joe. Knows where the wall is, knows the surroundings, turns the head back in, eyes on the ball, concentrating. Ball goes in the glove. He immediately has to get himself under control to get that ball back in. And you see the reaction from Hedges, like, come on, man. I need that knock.
Those are the moments you probably don't miss, right?
No, you don't, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm up here for a reason.
Here's the pitcher, Urania. He got his first major league hit his last time up, as Scruggs missed the tag on a bunt at first.
Still have to find out if he got his ball. I mean, there's a lot of confusion going on, right? The umpires had to come together to see if the tag applied, and I don't know if Urania got his first hit ball.
I don't think he wants that ball. No. It's a slider for strike 3. Martinez with 5 punch outs in a 3-3 game. won 9 of its last 11. Randall Grichuk gets ready to lead off this 5th inning. We look at our Geico in-game box score for the Cardinals. We're shut out over the first 3 innings, but then got it going in the 4th with a solo homer from Hayward. Molina then reached on an infield single. Jay walked, and Xavier Scruggs with only his 3rd hit of the season, a double to tie it at 3.
You look at the bottom half of the order, and they wait you out. You know, we talked about this during the break. They wait you out in positions where you look through, you know, going into the 5th inning. Urania has 74 pitches because they put you in tough. They put you in tough positions, you know. And when you look at what this team does overall, 1 through 8, is they allow themselves to get in positions where you might not have the stats, but you have, you know, the production that's needed to win and be in first place.
Grichuk takes ball 1, and you mentioned the approach. Maybe not necessarily the most impressive numbers, but the fact that this lineup top to bottom is a patient one is one of the things that makes Grichuk as compelling as he is. He kind of breaks the mold for what this lineup is. A lot of raw power for this kid.
Yeah, it is. He has the raw power, but you know what, Joe? They all have to buy into the philosophy. You know, and it works collectively as a group. Individual, it does not work. And I think overall, that's what makes them so successful is they allow themselves as a group to get it done, and it just wears the opposing pitcher down.
2-1. Slides away. 3 balls and a strike on Grichuk. Only 23 years old. He was acquired in the David Freese deal a couple of years ago. Healthy cut and a miss, and because there's so many guys around him that have patient approaches, Mike Matheny has told him that he doesn't mind if sometimes Grichuk's going up there trying to hit the ball as hard as he can with a couple swings.
I always say, do what you do best, and if that's what you are, then in this day and age, when you see all these teams, the Houston Astros, the Dodgers, you know, with their young stud in center field, they'll allow these guys to strike out a ton and hit the ball out the ballpark. And if that's what it is, that's what it is.
That's a good at-bat, an encouraging one for Cardinals fans as Grichuk earns the walk, the 3rd issued by Urania. Begins his 5th inning. In front of Johnny Peralta. Strikeout in the 1st, grounded into a double play with runners at the corners. The 3rd. Just foul. Strike 1. The former Indian, former Tiger. Had a monster 2013 season, was an all-star, and earned this current 4-year, $53 million deal that began last season. And by many measures has been the best shortstop in baseball since putting on the Cardinals uniform. 0-2.
Yeah, you know, he hits everywhere he goes. That's just the key. I mean, when you talk about underrated, I mean, you don't hear a lot about him. I think this is the first year you hear his name because of what he's done for this Cardinals team with all the injuries.
"13th big league season, and it's his best one so far offensively." Urania's 1-2. Realmuto sitting outside, hit his spot, and probably going to get 2 out of it. 6-4-3 for the 2nd time from Peralta. 2 gone.
That's about as easy as it gets right there, the 6-4-3. You talk about the sinker, the Urania features, and that ball right there sinks right into Peralta's bat, hits right in the ground as it's supposed to be. As Maria with those nice hands to D-Gordon for the turn, it's over the board.
So that wipes him clean, brings up Mark Reynolds. 3-3 game in the 5th. Reynolds 0 for 2 today with a strikeout and a flyout. Sixth different team in his 9 big league seasons. Signed a 1-year deal this offseason. Waits on this 1-0. Strike one. Stanton running over with room, and that does it. Cardinals get the leadoff man on, but Urania faces the minimum thanks to the double play ball. Three game, and Carlos Martinez lines up and brings the first one. Slider, punch past third, a base hit. Over to cut it off is Grichuk. Gordon, good speed into second with a double. He's thinking 2 out of the box, and it was the only way he was getting.
That's it. You see Grichuk get over to that ball quick, gets it in, nice little slide. And then D. Gordon out of the box, he's not going to be denied of getting to second base. The speed kills. Boy, I wish I could run like that when I played, Joe. Look at that. Cutting the corners on the bag. Knows he has to step up a little bit and gets in there safely.
So Gordon at second on the first pitch of this inning, and JT Realmuto out of the 2 spot climbs in. Look out. Ball one.
You know, that's the smartness of a guy like D. Gordon. Knowing what Carlos Martinez is trying to do, he set a pattern, establishing all-speed pitches early in the accounts, and that pitch, all-speed pitch, first pitch of the bat, his 3rd time up, and he shoots it down left field line.
Now he's missed with a couple of fastballs to Realmuto, who is 0 for 2 today. Chance to put the Marlins back in front here in the 5th.
Where if you're a team like the Marlins, struggling offensively a little bit, with your big boys coming up, this ball has to go to the right side to get D. Gordon to third.
Almost hit him. 3 balls and a strike. Double from Gordon against Martinez to start this inning. The 23-year-old has fallen behind Real Muto. 3-1. Count goes full. Guy that has typically gotten better as games have gone on. That trend, for the most part today, holding true so far. 2 runs in the first on the Stanton homer. A run in the second. Nothing since. The Marlins threatening in the 5th. And the 3-2-2 Real Muto. Slider pulled on the ground, too short. Gordon's got to go back to second. And the throw from Peralta's in time. Moments ago, we talked with Carlos Martinez manager Mike Matheny about his start to this game.
Well, like we talked about at the beginning of the game, there's days when he just comes out and maybe starts firing a little too hard. He's just such an emotional kid, which we don't want to take away, but he gets into it to the point where he's overthrowing at times and finds too much of the plate.
Jason Hayward with another home run. You've described him as looking more free lately. What do you mean by that?
I don't know. That looked pretty free to me. I think it's about him just letting it go and not being really so mechanical and just trusting his athleticism and his strength, because you know what we've been watching lately has been real impressive.
Mike, we appreciate the time.
All right, guys, take care.
At Homer started the scoring for the Cardinals. Scruggs would tie it with a double. Here we are, 3-3. And here's Christian Yelich, 2 for 2 today with a pair of singles. Generous outside edge, strike 1. That bat goes flying. And it looks like everybody got out of the way. Actually went on to one of the walkways between the sections.
I'll tell you what, Joe, that fan wanted that bat, and he took off immediately. Usher had to get out of the way. Look at that guy in the blue shirt. He's like, give me that bat.
Oh, did he beat the kid to the bat?
Well,
keep
you know,
himself?
I'm hoping that was his son.
I don't know, man.
Listen, the vendor guy was like, listen, I don't care. Just I'm glad I'm alive. The kid's like, Dad, get my bat. Yeah,
that's not his kid.
It's not his kid.
No. Good job, man. Good job. Wow. That's
I mean, listen, I don't think he saw the kid. I'm hoping he didn't. We've seen some fans over the course of the season.
Is he going to trade it in? Keep going with it. Yelich down on strikes. Let's check in with Ken Rosenthal.
Joe, right-handed power pitchers with good sliders who work inside traditionally are the kind who give Giancarlo Stanton trouble. I talked with Stanton before the game, and here is what he said.
They give me trouble sometimes. I give them trouble sometimes. So we throw punches back and forth. But he's a great pitcher. He does throw hard, works both sides of the plate. So, you know, I got to come in with my plan. He's going to have his, and you know, see how it works.
And here the plan is to put him on, much to the chagrin of this Miami crowd.
I would boo too if I saw that first inning homer. You know, I mean, it's just what it is. But to that point, what Ken was saying, you know, he understands what he has to do. You know, and talking about Giancarlo Stanton, he understands that when you look at, you know, when you look at his strike zone, yeah, he's beatable inside a little bit, but he's made the adjustment to that. And if you make a mistake, we saw that he's hitting 400 all the way across the board when you make a mistake against him, and that's what he's supposed to do.
Home run was on a hanging slider, and he punished for number 26 this year. They walk him to get to a guy who's got some pretty darn good pop himself, and Derek Dietrich 0 for 2 today with a couple of ground outs. 3 home runs over his first couple of weeks back on the big league roster. They're starting this season in AAA. 2 on and 2 out. Derek Dietrich swings at a change, strike 1. Martin Prado's on the disabled list with a shoulder injury. Dietrich had already been called up by the time that injury happened, but that was in a more of a utility role, and this has thrusted him to an everyday spot.
Yeah, I talked to Prado before the game, and he said he's close. I mean, he is a big addition when he gets back on that field for this Marlins team.
Oh.
Nasty pitch. Martin don't like that pitch at all. He's like, that pitch has to be a ball.
Not close. So check our Fox tracks. Martinez went change and then backdoor slider. What does he do on 0-2? 99.
He just gassed up.
Yeah. He's pitched into the 7th inning in 6 consecutive starts. He's been fairly efficient in this one. This is pitch number 80. And it's a strikeout on a changeup. The way that he began the at-bat is the way that he finishes it with his 7th punch out of the game. Locked at 3 after 5. Tied at 3 as we go to the 6th. Today's game is brought to you by Chevrolet, the official vehicle of Major League Baseball. Jose Ureña's night is finished. Dan Jennings goes into his bullpen, calls on Sam Dyson on for the 33rd time this season. He faces Jason Hayward. Put one on the upper deck his last time up. Ball 1.
See Dyson come to the game with that easy cheese, 96 miles an hour with the first pitch.
Another fastball. This one a strike. Dyson most recently making the news when he issued a 4-pitch walk to Alex Rodriguez last Thursday in the Bronx after A-Rod had reached 2,999 hits. Hayward cracks his bat on a roller to Gordon. 1 out. Fans wanted a chance to see A-Rod get 3,000.
Yeah, I had no problem with that. You know, I just look at this and go, hey, you're not getting your 3,000 hit off of me. I mean, going hard. And the Marlins are actually still in the ball game. So, you know, I know the fans displeased about it, but at the end of the day, Dyson's like, hey, man, I'm trying to get him out. And I'm throwing 96 in on his hands while I think I can get him out at. So. Didn't matter anyway. He got it pretty soon. He got it soon enough.
Got it the next night. Yadier Molina, a couple of hits today to extend his streak to 8 games. That one tails in, ball 1. Trailing Buster Posey, all-star voting right now among National League catchers. It's 1-1. Fastball at 96. So Urania goes 5 innings, holds the Cardinals to 3 runs. Take a no decision.
But when you're trying to stay in a rotation, that's the type of start you have to have. I know you wouldn't want to have you leave the game tied, but the quality start giving your team a chance to win a ball game.
Molina cues it foul. And it is somewhat of an audition. Each time he goes out there, it is because of the influx of arms that are coming off of the disabled list for Miami.
And don't look at it as pressure. I think when you look at the bullpen, you're still in the big leagues, still helping the squad. Somebody does have to go down, but if you go out there and throw the ball like he did today, it gives you a better shot, and it gives those guys that we just saw, you know, some time to think about what they have to do. Make them think about taking you out of rotation and putting you in the bullpen. And it's a tough decision, especially when you get Jose back. I think this team will be a lot better because now you strengthen the bullpen and you try to shorten the game as much as you can, especially with some big arms as they have.
Hayward grounded out to start the inning. Molina takes upstairs 2-2. Ken Rosenthal, you've got more on this pitching situation for Miami.
Joe, people always ask, is this team a buyer or a seller? When in reality, teams can act both ways before the deadline. And the Marlins actually are one of those teams. They don't necessarily want to sell right now, not a chance. This homestand is big for them, they admit that, but they're trying to get back into contention. But once this kind of shakes out a little bit, at that point, if all these pitchers are healthy and most of them are doing well, they could trade from strength, maybe trade a starting pitcher such as a potential free agent Matt Latos for bullpen help. The good thing is, when you have this much starting pitching, you have options.
And they've needed a lot of this starting pitching count with the injuries they've had. Dan Herron's the only starting pitcher from the original rotation this year not to miss a start. Of course, you've got Jose Fernandez due to return July 2nd. Alvarez, Kozar both went down on the disabled list at the same time, both still on the DL. There is Alvarez there. Shoulder inflammation for him on May 22nd. Latos missed a couple of weeks. Kohler and Phelps quietly have been solid. Justin Nicolino was really impressive in his big league debut over the weekend. Hard hit on the ground. D. Gordon, 3 ground ball outs for Sam Dyson, one of the best in the National League at inducing grounders. Tied at 3, middle 6. opener between the Marlins and the Cardinals. Hayward's home run started the scoring for St. Louis. They got 2 more and a Scruggs double to even the issue at 3. Now Marcell Ozuna against Carlos Martinez. Fastball at 98, strike 1. Marlins got their 3 runs in the first 2 innings. Stanton went deep. Ozuna scored on a single from Echeverria 1 inning later. Martinez has settled in, not giving up a run since.
Yeah, he's still in the ball game. When you look at Urena, he's out, and I think, you know, it just shows you how patient those Cardinal hitters were tonight against Urena. Tough to say his name consistently, Joe. I don't know how you've been doing, though. I'm gonna start saying Jose.
Yeah, just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
Lucky for you, he's out of the game. You may not have to say it anymore. 2-2 on Ozuna.
To me, that's the pitch for Carlos. When he established it out, not the one he threw earlier in the game in the first inning to Giancarlo, but when that pitch is moving that, you know, that much, that's the equalizer he has as his out pitch.
And he uses it to strike out Ozuna. His 8th of the game. Greg Wolf, time for a game break. All right, Greg. Cardinals enter today's action with a full 6-game lead on the Pirates. Justin Bour takes ball 1. The top 3 teams by record in the National League all belong to the Central. Cardinals, Pirates, Cubs, 3 best records in the NL.
Well, you look at those Cardinals. I mean, you talk about rotation. You talk about, you know, beat up, you know, guys on the DL, but they all have good starting rotations.
Peralta fields this one easily, throws out Bour, 2 away. Pirates have been the best team in the National League over the last month. Just goes to show you how good Mike Matheny's team has been, that despite the Pirates' recent run of success, Cardinals still up by 6 games.
Yeah, and they just buy into his personality and what he is. We was talking to him before the game, and he sort of lures you to sleep, but in a good way. I mean, you know, he's very, you know, easygoing and relaxed, and I think his players take on that and allows these guys, when you have the injuries they have, to just slide right on in and not feel the pressure to go out there and be successful.
A lot of it has been what the pitching staff has done. Last time a staff finished a season with an ERA below 3 was in 1989. Those Dodgers, who at this point had a 2.66. Matheny's saying earlier this week there's no reason this group can't do it. Sure, the historical data might call for a regression, but said they've done it this far. Why not continue it? You know, why not continue into the 7th, perhaps, for Carlos Martinez for the 8th consecutive start? Tied at 3 after 6. leads off this inning, and you can follow the Marlins all season in 2015 and the Cardinals as well with MLB.com app, the #1 app for live baseball. It's up to date, up to the moment, at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, and plenty more. Get MLB.com app for your smartphone or tablet. Scruggs shoots one towards right center. That's a base hit, his second of the day. And both hits have come on the first pitch of the AB.
I've always said you have to go up to the plate against the guys throwing hard and be ready for that first pitch fastball. And you got to be ready to hit it. See his pitch, you see the grip, right out, ball's down. Scruggs stays on that ball. You know what? You're trying to get more playing time. You know, this is a guy that's getting an opportunity to get out of the minor leagues and get up and help the squad. We talked about the offense not being what you would think it would be with a team in first place like they are. But he's looking for opportunity to play.
Carlos Martinez hits for himself, and look out on a pitch that's up and in. And it got a piece of it. Fastball at 94. Question is, where did it get him?
It looked like he got right in the shoulder, Joe. That looks nasty.
On his throwing arm.
There's nothing he can do. I mean, he's trying to do his job, and you see that ball come in on you. You try and get out of the way. Thank goodness it didn't get him in the face, but I don't know when you look at it, hit him in his right arm.
The only reason he'd be in there to bat for himself would be if the Cardinals planned on him pitching the bottom of this inning, but you would assume that the Cardinals would consider getting somebody up at this point, with that being his pitching arm, and you figure it would tighten up. Dunn starts to loosen for Miami. So 2 on, nobody out. Top of the order, Colt Wong with the corners squeezing in. Here's the St. Louis bullpen. Running foul, strike one.
Well, we talked about early in the game, Urena went to square around for a bunch. Actually, he didn't square around, and you wonder, sometimes it's just tough, especially when you have these fastballs born in on you 95, 96 miles an hour. Sometimes you don't get it. Just get that bunt down because of that type of situation happening.
Swings away and rips it by a drawn-in bore at first. Foul, strike two.
Don't care how much practice you get in. No coach can throw that hard when you're practicing your bunt game in BP.
Chops softly to second. Gordon shovels to second. Heck of a play to get the force out. Scruggs advances to third. Martinez is forced out. Wong safe at first on a fielder's choice. Let's check in with Ken Rosenthal.
Well, watching Carlos Martinez at first base there, he was moving his arm repeatedly in kind of a circular motion, just trying to loosen it up. It's going to be real interesting to see, guys, if he stiffens up now that he's off the bases, and whether he pitches again in the bottom half.
Yeah, that was the think, and it's good to see him stay in. But Cliff, you can imagine when you get hit by a fastball like that, that over time, over the coming minutes and hours, it's going to stiffen up.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to stiffen up on him. You see the trainer and Derek Lilliquist over there having a conversation with him, but it's one of those things you have to protect him. They can ill afford to lose him at this point with all the injuries they've had with that rotation. But 94 in the right arm, Joe, I don't know.
Grichuk with a chance to put St. Louis in front for the first time. Strike one. Facing Sam Dyson. Grichuk 0 for 2 today. Walked his last time up. Grichuk trying to come up with the first base hit of the game for the top 4 in the Cardinals order. They're combined 0 for 11. Grounded into a pair of double plays, both from Johnny Peralta. Dyson as good as they come at inducing grounders. Can he get one here? Drills it. Second batter that he's hit this inning, and St. Louis has loaded the bases.
That one come in a little hot as well. 95 miles an hour. I got him in a good spot though. Never wanted to get hit, but if you're going to get hit, might as well get hit right there.
Oh yeah.
Got a little cushion there.
And so they're loaded up. Scruggs started the inning with a single. Wong reached on a fielder's choice. Grichuk was hit. And a mound visit. Chuck Hernandez. Still Dyson, kind of guy that can get you out of the inning with a ground ball, and Peralta has hit into a pair of double plays already tonight. So they stick with Dyson to face Peralta.
Well, Peralta's hitting to 2 double plays tonight, so you got a ground ball pitcher on the mound. The guy that's hitting the 2 double plays, you might as well leave him out there. You're just hoping that he doesn't hit another batter.
Get a pair of them this inning. Now nowhere to put him. Tie game, bases loaded in the 7th. Johnny Peralta goes after the first pitch, fouls it back. Strike 1. Cishek warming. So is Dunn. Tie game in the 7th. Oh, 2.
Steve Cishek down there in the bullpen. Former closer trying to regain that form again. Trying to get back to where he was before when he was pretty good coming out in the 9th inning for this Marlins team. And you know, this is sometimes what it has to take. You know, you regress a little bit, you find yourself, and maybe you get your role back at some point.
Cardinals have them loaded. Peralta down to the count 0-2, and Dyson delivers. Lays off a high fastball. Had to be enticing. 1-2.
Definitely enticing, but the one thing you take away from Dyson in this situation when you don't have anywhere to put a runner is that sinker, because he's hit 2 guys. He doesn't have the confidence to throw it, which is what you need in this situation if you hit.
Just downstairs, and it evens up 2-2. That's probably a double play if he makes contact.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a changeup. So you look at him, he's throwing straight fastball changeup when he's pretty much, you know, a high 80% sinker ball thrower.
Chases a slider for strike 3. Dyson with a big strikeout. 2 gone in the 7th with the bases still loaded.
And that was a nasty pitch. You come back after throwing a changeup right there to a nasty slider. You see the grip on that ball right there, tight out his hand. Peralta is bailing on it. He gets the K.
Well, Dyson's throwing everything up there.
Yeah, he is in that situation because, like I said, he has nowhere to put nobody, but his MO is his sinker. He just can't throw it right now. It's not coming out of his hands good enough.
So it's up to Reynolds. One of those grand slams earlier this year. Swing and a miss at a slider, strike 1. Dyson trying to pitch out of a jam and keep it tight at 3. 7th inning, game 1 of this 3-game set. Nothing in 2. Able to lay off, trying to get him to chase. Ball one.
You know, Joe, this is when you dice and you look at this release, you see that slider once again, a good one, 0-2. But you have to be able to pitch if you're a reliever coming out of bullpen. You can't be one-dimensional. The sinker not working, well, you know what? I got to go to my changeup, I got to go to my slider, but you have to still be effective.
Slider again. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Reynolds with the bases loaded. 2 outs and a tie game in the 7th. Scruggs at third, started the inning with a single. Long reached on a fielder's choice. Grichuk was hit. And Reynolds takes ball 3 after falling behind in the count 0-2.
This is where you hold your breath if you dice. You're talking about a guy sitting on fastball who's a good fastball hitter. You're just hoping that you can make that pitch.
Runners will get a head start. Dyson is ready with a 3-2 to Reynolds. We'll do it again. .229 career home runs for Mark Reynolds, but nearing 1,500 career strikeouts. Critical point in this game. Bases loaded, 2 outs, 3-2 on Mark Reynolds. Hard hit off of Dyson to short. Echeverria throws wide and the Cardinals take the lead. It's a base hit bringing home Scruggs. What an at-bat for Reynolds.
That was a great at-bat by him. That would have been an unbelievable play if Echeverria could have made that play. But when you go back to that guy right there, Mark Reynolds, you see a dead red fastball down the middle. And all you got to do is put it in play and see what happens. Good results for the Cardinals. This bare hand play by Echeverria. And still able to get off a decent throw at first base.
Mark Reynolds, after falling behind in the count 0-2, battles back to run it full, fouled off a pitch, and then squared one up and singles home the go-ahead run. Dan Jennings will make a change. Sam Dyson is finished, and the Cardinals lead for the first time tonight. Left-handed batting Jason Hayward with the bases still loaded. The Cardinals with a newfound lead on the 2-out base hit from Mark Reynolds. Strike one.
Jay Hayward has done well against lefties this year. 3 for 10 against Mike Dunn, and to his credit, I mean, a guy that's, you see the numbers right there, that's the guy hit in the face by a lefty, you know, in Citi Field last year, to be able to battle back and keep that front shoulder, which is a must against lefties. Good.
Reverse splits in a big way. 125 points higher against left-handed pitching. Behind in the count 0-2 against Mike Dunn. So his 7th big league season. He tried to keep it a 1-run game here in the 7th.
See what I mean right there, Joe? By him standing there, you see him tapping with that front foot. That's just letting him know that he was on that pitch. That fastball being away. If those hips should open up even a little bit, you're at a disadvantage, you know, to that lefty pitch on the mound.
Dunn to Hayward with a 1-2 pitch. Real Muto sets outside, and he goes there with a fastball that evens the count.
As much as we taught as lefties to stand there, I mean, it's sort of a tribute to him getting hit in the face because of the simple fact that he stayed in there so much. And he wanted to let that ball travel in as much as he could.
Dunn going outside again, this time with a slider to strike out Hayward and leave the bases loaded. But the Cardinals cash in with a 2-out single from Mark Reynolds to take a 4-3 lead. Stretch time in Miami. Carlos Martinez stays in the game despite getting hit in the shoulder by a 94-mile-per-hour fastball. Yeah, for the 7th consecutive game, he deals into the 7th. Ichiro pinch hitting out of the 9th spot, taking strike one.
It must have got him in a good spot. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Scary moment. Top of this inning. Ball on his strike on the 41-year-old in his 15th major league season. Facing a 23-year-old in his first season as a full-time starter.
Joe, I was in the Marlins clubhouse before the game, and his stretch routine is serious.
Drags one softly to Scruggs for the first out. Get back to that in a second, Cliff. Let's go to LA first for a game big with Greg Wolf. Outbursts from the Pirates, Greg. So you were mentioning, Cliff, the stretch routine for Ichiro. You got to, though, right? I mean, 41-year-old still playing,
getting it done, and I mean, he stretched for about 30 minutes, and I was just sitting there. I was just in awe.
Ken Rosenthal, you have more.
Talking to Johnny Peralta before the game, I asked him about Byron Buxton. And the Cardinals just played the Twins. And Cliff, I don't know about you, but Buxton is one of the fastest guys I have ever seen on a baseball field. So I asked Johnny, as a longtime shortstop, another guy who might have been that fast that he can remember playing against. And he said, oh, yeah, Ichiro, early days with Seattle.
A drawn-in Reynolds makes a fantastic play on a Gordon bouncer for the second out of the inning.
And I'm telling you, man, it is unbelievable to see when you talk about him running out of the box, when he makes every defense uncomfortable. We see Mark Reynolds makes this unbelievable play, probably a little bit more whoa factor to that than needed, but I'll take it. You got the out. But when you talk about Ichiro and what he's able to do on the field, man, he made you uncomfortable as an outfielder, as an infield, as a pitcher, whoever, because he was so fast.
JT Realmuto swings and misses, strike one. Last road trip where they went through Cincinnati, did Miami. That made it all 30 current parks that Ichiro has played in over the course of his 15 big league seasons. 11.5 with Seattle, 2.5 with the Yankees. Now in his first year in Miami. Martinez, 98 in the fastball. Here in the 7th, fouled off, still 0-2.
Maybe that ball in the arm gave him a boost.
Something. He strikes out Realmuto to finish a 1-2-3-7. He's retired 7 in a row. Struck out 10. Back in Miami, top of the 8th inning. Cardinals have scored 4 unanswered, lead 4-3. Joe Davis, Cliff Floyd, Ken Rosenthal. Extraordinary moments happen every night in baseball. On one night, they all happen in one place. Don't miss the 86th All-Star Game with coverage beginning at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, Tuesday, July 14th on Fox. Fourth pitcher into the game for the Marlins is Steve Cishek, who went down to AAA for the first couple of weeks of June to try and sort some things out after a really disappointing first 2 months of this year.
Yeah, he's trying to find himself, but I think when you look at what was happening with him, his fastball was splitting the plate right down the middle. He couldn't get to his secondary stuff, and guys were able to eliminate pitches, Joe, and that was just a no-no for him. And you know, when you go down, it gives you a chance to think about things off the field and get, you know, sort of get your mind right. And then, you know, whereas it don't count when you go out there on the mound in the minor league level. So I think he's found himself a little bit, and hopefully he can help his team later on.
Fastball got on Molina in a hurry. Strike one. His 5th outing since coming back from AAA, and he's not given up a run over his first 4 opportunities. Breaks the bat of Molina. This would be a tough play for Echeverria for most runners. But Molina's thrown out for the first out of the inning. Dan Jennings was asked what kind of role Steve Cishek would have. And Jennings was quick to say there won't be any easing him back in. They continue to put him in high leverage situations. This is the 2nd time he's pitched in the 8th. The other 3 times since getting caught up have been in the 7th. So not directly back into the closer's role, but in an important one.
Yes, and every time out there is important. And I think for him, he just has to go out there and trust his stuff and trust that he can put the ball where he wants to.
Gets in on John Jay. Some weak contact for the first 2 outs of the inning. Big night for Xavier Scruggs. 2 hits over his first 4 games this season in the bigs. He's got a pair of hits tonight. Tied the game with a 2-run double in the 4th. And then scored the go-ahead run after singling last inning. Hey. 1-1. Under the glove of Bohr into right. Scruggs aboard to keep the inning alive. We'll see how they rule that.
Should
give
be a
a base hit.
Just gonna get to it out of his reach a little bit. So that in between, should I dive? Should I not? Should I backhand?
Garcia grabs a bat. He was caught up at the same time Scruggs was. The pitch run for Scruggs. Pete Kozma. Kozma into the game to run for Scruggs. And Greg Garcia to bat out of the 9th spot. There's ball 1. Garcia 3 hits and 6 at-bats so far in his time in the bigs this year. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You talk about supporting cast all the time, Joe. You know, and these guys come up, Garcia, Scruggs, and they get a chance to play, and they are always ready. I mean, 3 for 6 is a tough gig for any guy coming off the bench late in the game, facing guys like Cishek. And these guys coming out of hand throwing 90+ miles an hour when you've been sitting there for 7-8 innings.
The bench is a spot that folks around St. Louis have talked about wanting to upgrade as you move closer to the deadline and even past it. Off waivers once August gets here. For that bench, much in the same way the Marlins pen will be improved when they get healthy starters, the Cardinals bench is going to be improved when they get a guy like Holiday back into the starting lineup. Swing and a miss from Garcia. That's strike 3. And despite the 2-out single, Cardinals don't score. Giancarlo Stanton will bat second in the bottom of the 8th inning. One swing could tie it 4-3 St. Louis. After 7 full innings and is in position to win this game if the bullpen can hold on to it. Pete Kozma came into the game to run for Scruggs. He goes to third. Reynolds flips across to Diamond, third to first. 3, 4, and 5 for the Marlins. Yelich, Stanton, Dietrich. Yelich 2 for 3 tonight. A couple of singles against Martinez. Strike 1.
Kevin Seager's a hard throwing lefty out of that bullpen for the Cardinals. He trusts that gas. He likes it a lot.
One off speed there, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mentioned it. You know how it goes.
Timing. 2-1. 35th appearance for him. That's top 5 in the National League. It's been a bounce back year for him. Gave up 2 runs total in 45 games as a rookie 2 years ago, but then last year had an ERA near 7 as he dealt with a strained forearm. He's been the 8th inning guy with Walden out. Even some 9th inning opportunities with Rosenthal getting rest. Pumps it 2-2 to Yelich and begins the 8th inning with a strikeout.
That was his challenge fastball. Hit me if you can.
Giancarlo Stanton comes to the plate. Had a 2-run home run in the first inning to begin the scoring. His 26th of the year to lead the majors.
Paul was crushed. You know, you look back on that, he missed his spot talking about Carlos Martinez by good ways and paid for it.
Face guard is off against the left-handed pitcher. Out in front of an off-speed. Strike 1. Molina's setting inside. If you're going to go inside, it better be in. Seagrass, who is a left-handed pitcher, has been really hard on right-handed hitters.
That just does not make sense.
No. Molina again setting inside. Again, missing inside, falling behind in the count, 2-1 on Stanton.
Well, if you're going to have any success against a guy like Stanton, that's where you better put the baseball.
Going there again. He missed this time and got away with it. Shallow center, tough play. Hayward comes out and pulls it in. 2 gone.
That's why he one of the best, Joe. He gets good jumps on baseballs, even when you're playing no doubles. You talk about the fastball at the hand, getting in on Stanton a little bit. The swing throws you off as an outfielder, so the first initial step sometimes be back. You take that big swing like that, you see you get some help from Colton Long in that situation, but Hayward is coming in. John Jay is playing deep in center, so you have to trust that your guys can make these type of plays.
2-time Gold Glover does. Boy, Segras wanted to come in and left that inner half. Still able to get Stan to pop out. Jeff Baker grabs a bat. Will pinch hit for Derek Dietrich out of the 5 spot. It takes low for ball 1. 250 in a utility role this year for the veteran. All 3 home runs he said have come against left-handed pitching.
That's why he's up there. See if he can tie this game late.
Playing the pull. No doubles defense. At third from Cosma, hugging the line. 2-0. Strike 1. In his career, lefty-righty splits even greater in favor of him against lefties. Molina setting outside for this 2-1. 2-2 with a fastball at 94.
See that grimace by Jeff Baker. That's coming off the bench, but also knowing that you miss a pitch. You see that pitch by Kevin Segras right there, missed his spot by a good margin, and Jeff Baker swung and missed.
I didn't know if he was upset about that or upset about the fact that everybody was cheering while he swung and missed because they were worried about doing the wave.
I hated that thing when I was up there. Wait till the inning's over or something.
At least not a 1-run game
Exactly.
in the 8th, right? Situational cheering. 3-2. Inside to Baker, who draws the walk. Bring up Ozuna. Professional at bat right there off of the bench.
Yes, it's always tough coming off the bench, especially facing a guy like Segras with a power fastball. But once you get deep in the count, you're a little settled. You get the timing down, it allows you to get into it, and Jeff Baker was able to work a 2-out walk.
Ozuna, who's only gone deep 4 times this year, but has big-time power. Cranked 23 bombs in his first big league season last year. Waits on this first one from Segras. Strike 1. Two for 3 tonight. Doubled in the second. Singled in the 4th. And has crushed left-handed pitching. Finally, a true splits guy. Reverse splits guys tonight. 0-1. A little bit in. 1 ball, 1 strike. On to Ozuna. Reach the seats. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Segras gotten away with a couple pitches right down the middle. I mean, he's missed his spot by, you know, a long shot and gotten away with it.
Got here, Molina maybe saying something about that.
Hey, man, listen, you got to get in there a little bit.
says when I say in, I mean in, not inner half.
You know, that's what happens, though, when these guys, when you set up inside, which I think is a lost art, because you don't see a lot of pitchers do it these days, is you want to get it in so much that you overthrow, and it ends up tailing back over the plate, and that's when you normally get hurt.
Jeff Baker with a 2-out pinch hit walk. 1-2 on Ozuna. They'll go inside against him again. And miss. Molina started to lean outside.
You know, Molina is so good at making sure that even if you think you want to look, you see him sits back over there, and I think maybe he crossed up Kevin Sears.
Yeah. Line drive, base hit, right center. Jay cuts it off. Baker held it third on a long single from Ozuna. And the Marlins with a tying run 90 feet away here in the 8th.
I think if you're the Marlins, it was a great piece of hitting by Ozuna, but I think you would like to see him on second base. You see a team playing no doubles as the Cardinals is playing right here as he stays nice inside out that ball to the right side. This ball to me, when you see Jay getting that ball, just trying to get it in, Marcel must have come out the box good enough to get to second base. In slow-mo or phantom camp. It's just a nice piece. You don't even feel that ball coming off the bat, Joe.
Justin Bour with a chance to tie it with a base hit. Popped up. Will Reynolds have room? No. Baker walked. Ozuna singled. Now Bour, who is 0 for 3 today, has a chance to tie the game against Kevin Zegras. The 0-1. That one got home plate umpire Adam Hamari. Knocked him down. Sounded like it hit something on its way into his chest protector. If it was a bat, then it's 0-2.
I don't care how much protection you have on. This hurts. This knocks the fire right out. It hits the glove, thank goodness.
Oh. Wow. It was a glove that it hit. You hate to say it, but the Cardinals are lucky that one didn't get by Hamari, because the tying run comes in and scores on what is a live ball. 95 miles per hour to the chest.
95 miles an hour. You have to say that this equipment that these guys wear today is darn good.
Molina just said Hamari might fall.
Yeah, you see it. You know, this inning, you see Molina moving around a lot behind the plate, and I don't know if it's because he thinks these guys are peaking a little bit or whatever, but I don't remember seeing him move this much behind the plate.
Catcher umpire, one of the subtle, important relationships inside the game. 1 ball and 1 strike on Justin Bour, with Jeff Baker at third and Marcell Ozuna at first. Fastball for a strike, 1-2. Yelich struck out. Stanton flied out. 2 have reached. And a 1-2 to Bour. Fastball swung on and fouled into the mid for strike 3. Zegras gets out of the jam, perhaps with a touch of help, a little bit of luck in the form of Adam Hamari's chest protector. 4 straight, lead 4-3 as we go to the 9th inning. You can fill out your 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot now at MLB.com/vote on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. Vote up to 35 times at MLB.com/vote. Carter Capps into the game, the 5th Marlins pitcher, trying to keep it a 1-run game.
Yep, you got to come in this situation right now and just hold them at bay. Give yourself a chance to score a run or 2 in the bottom of the 9th.
Wong at the top of the Cardinals order takes ball 1. Jeff Baker came in and pinch hit for Derek Dietrich last inning. He stays in, plays defense at 3rd. Capps 1-0, and Wong swings and misses at 97.
Well, that's unorthodox, I'll tell you that. You look at that delivery. You can't teach that mechanical. If he has some flaw, you're in trouble.
Cardinals familiar with it, a little bit like Jordan Walton. 1-2.
But you know what, Joe? If you're throwing 97, I don't care how you do it. You can just get up there like that.
So it's 97, but by perceived velocity, it's 101 because of the extension he gets.
There you go.
And that makes it, by perceived velocity, the hardest fastball in baseball. Got a piece, sent it to short. Echeverria, 1 gone. Ken Rosenthal.
Well, Joe, you mentioned the Cardinals, Jordan Walden. These guys attract attention from the Major League Baseball offices because of the unusual nature of their deliveries. And MLB actually contacted the Marlins in April. You can see it right there, what he does. And they clarified which of Capps' pitches were legal and which were not. He went to AAA, made the necessary adjustments without altering his mechanics, and now you're seeing the results. Capps and A.J. Ramos, pretty effective late-inning tandem for the Fish.
And a team, Ken, that could use a late-inning tandem. 12 for 23 save opportunities this year. Of course, that was a big part of the problem early on with Steve Cishek, who we detailed last inning, starting the season in the closer's role and struggling mightily. There's 99 from Capps. Grichuk down 0-2.
Well, I'll tell you what, if he continuously gets that slider over, you throw that after, good luck if you're the hitter in that box.
Yeah. Oh, good night. 2 up.
Well, I know we've been talking about getting Steve Cishek back in the closer role, but if he continues to throw like that, Joe, I mean, that's your future closer.
Former Mariner, traded for Logan Morrison prior to last year. Now faces Johnny Peralta, who's had a tough night, 0 for 4, a couple of strikeouts, twice is grounded into double plays. 99 again, strike 1.
You see guys up there, you saw Wong do it, you see Peralta's doing, you're trying to cheat. You catch it, and hopefully you get it out in front.
Yeah, but then there's that slider. Well, if you're cheating, fastball, that happens.
Like this, you can't hit both of them.
Pick one.
Just
right?
sell out and hit one.
Number 1 in the majors in strikeouts per 9 innings. You see the pitch speed range, the fastball in the high 90s, slider can dip down all the way to the low 80s. Trying to make quick work of the Cardinals in the 9th. Marlins, by the way, 8-9-1, due up against Trevor Rosenthal, you would assume, in the bottom of the 9th inning. Echeverria, then the pitcher's spot, then D. Gordon. Couldn't lay off that slider. 1-2-3. Go the Cardinals in the 9th. And here comes Rosenthal to try and lock it down for St. Louis. 4-3. scored 3 times in the first 2 innings and led 3-0, but now trail 4-3. Japan and the Netherlands. FIFA Women's World Cup, that follows us. Marlins trying to come up with a rally against Trevor Rosenthal. With 8-9-1 coming to the plate. Been close to unhittable this year, converting 21 of his 22 save opportunities. Strike 1 to Echeverria.
We've seen some 90+ mile-an-hour fastballs all night long.
Happy you're up here?
Believe it.
Another fastball. This one misses outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now the Cardinals last year finished 10th in the National League in bullpen ERA. Pat Neshek, who was one of their top arms, departed. Now in Houston. Echeverria rolls it to short for Peralta. 1 out in the 9th. Some bounce back years though. We saw Seagrass last inning. He's been much improved from last year. Same thing with Rosenthal, who was not bad, but had some issues with control last year. Dominant again here in 2015.
Well, you have to pump strike, especially if you have the stuff. And I think it was just about him, you know, sort of slowing himself down a little bit, understanding that his stuff is there. You just can't just continuously walk guys and put yourself in trouble, especially, you know, when you have a chance to be the hero to go in the 9th inning.
Donovan Solano bats here in the 9th spot. 2 for 20 as a pinch hitter this year. Look out. Maybe the kid that was denied the bat earlier got that ball.
It didn't look like it, Joe.
No.
I saw the kid that got it. That's not him.
Bouncing ball, base hit to right. Solano goes the other way on a 97-mile-per-hour fastball, and the Marlins put the tying run on base in the 9th inning.
Nice piece of hitting right here. You see the fastball grip by Rosenthal. And coming off the bench, this is all you do. Trust what you see. That ball's away from you. You go to the opposite side and get it out. See it in slow-mo. Beautiful thing.
And it gets it back to the top of the order for D. Gordon. He was 1 for 4 today. Comes into the game leading the majors in hits. Having a monster season. On his way to the All-Star game for his 2nd consecutive year.
You see the Cardinals bench is trying to position the guys in the right place. You don't want to play no doubles. But you want to also be in a position that if D hits it to the left side, he's so fast that you have a possibility to turn a double play.
The Cardinals improved their defense last inning by putting Cosma at 3rd and moving Reynolds across the diamond to 1st. 1 ball and no strikes on D. Gordon. Painted. Strike 1. Limited opportunities against Rosenthal. He's pitching in his first save situation in 10 days. Is 1-1. 2 balls and a strike on Gordon.
If you're the Cardinals, you're hoping for a big out with D. Gordon, because if you don't get him, you have the chance of getting that big beast up there in Giancarlo Stanton to do some damage.
Broke his bat, rolled to second. Tag is there, and it's a double play. Wong able to tag Solano going by and throw out Gordon to finish the night. Rosenthal with a save and a 4-3 Cardinals win. Now it's World Cup action. Here's John Strong in Vancouver. All right, good job.